O Lord, may the words of my mouth and the meditations of each of our hearts be acceptable in your sight. For you truly are our Creator, Provider, Comforter, Healer, our strength, and our Redeemer. Amen. An officer in the Navy had dreamed from childhood of commanding a great battleship one day. And he finally achieved his dream. And he was commissioned to the newest and the proudest ship in the fleet. And one stormy night, the captain was on duty on the bridge when he spotted a strange light rapidly closing in on his vessel. And as the ship plowed through the giant waves, the light rose and fell just above the horizon of the sea. And he ordered his signalman to flash a message to the unidentified craft: alter your course 10 degrees to the south. Within seconds, a reply came: alter your course 10 degrees to the north. Well, determined that his ship would never give way to another, the captain snapped a second order: alter course 10 degrees. I am the captain. And the response was beamed back: alter your course 10 degrees. I am Seaman 3rd Class Smith. And by this time, the light was growing brighter and larger. Infuriated, the captain grabbed the signal light himself and signaled, alter course, I am a battleship. And the reply came back quickly, alter your course, I am a lighthouse. We should always be willing to give way to others. Arrogantly steaming on can be disastrous and costly. One of my professors at Andover Newton, Brita Gill Ostern, used the expression, we need to know our own right size. And I think that is the ongoing challenge for us all of our lives long. It can be tempting to think of ourselves as more important than others, as the captain did, or not as important at all to anybody. We can also, like a seaman 3rd class, have enough confidence in our position and enough poise to challenge supposedly higher authority when necessary. Sometimes it's too easy in our minds and hearts to exaggerate our own importance, our own achievements, our self-esteem for inappropriate or perhaps even inaccurate reasons, like the next story. A city man turned farmer was showing a young boy over his acreage. And as they drove through field after field, the man bragged incessantly about his accomplishments, how he had started from scratch as a young man and worked his way up through the business world. He told how he had earned far more money than had been necessary to purchase the land, how he had invested thousands upon thousands of dollars to transform the formerly worthless farm into the agricultural paradise that they were exploring. And he told of the amazing yield of his crops and the lushness of the new spring planting. And finally, he pointed toward the stacked hay, the full granary, and the boxes of produce and declared, and I grew up all by myself, Sonny. Started with nothing, and look at it. From nothing? Echoed the duly impressed boy. That's right, said the man, from nothing. Wow, the young boy said, pausing to reflect a few seconds. My dad farms, but he needs seeds to grow his crops. Before we become too impressed with our own accomplishments, it would be wise to remember that we can never achieve anything of significance on our own. There is always someone else to thank. Now, we're probably not as proud or arrogant as either the captain or the farmer, but I think the stories do point out some of the temptations that we may have to feel superior to other people. Of course, no one can ever achieve success in a family, a career, or vocation, avocation without support and encouragement and help from many other people, and especially God's gifts of grace and talent and opportunities, etc. Yet sometimes we can forget that and think we have earned it or deserved it or won success by our own efforts alone. In truth, we do have to put forth effort to achieve, but that's never enough by itself. And of course, there are other times in our lives when we may have the opposite problem, an inferiority complex. Times when we feel like even with the help of others, we can't muster the strength or the talent or the courage to accomplish anything of value. It's another way of saying we think God doesn't care very much about us. That does not take into consideration that we are, each one of us, children of God, and a God who loves us no matter what, and who wants to bless us and lead us into meaningful and valuable life and ministry. In the Sermon on the Mount, Jesus expresses God's amazing love for all, but especially for the down and out, for those who mourn, those who are meek, humble, powerless, slow to anger, merciful, who long to be righteous, and those who are bullied cruelly. These Beatitudes were really very countercultural then, and honestly they still are today. We can hear them as sweet platitudes, but indeed they're not that at all. Jesus is saying that society's rules of success and fame and fortunes are not God's rules. And those who get caught up in society's drive for wealth or success and status are far from enjoying the blessings of the kingdom of heaven. But instead, when things go wrong, that's when we find out that we have a unique chance to get closer to God, to recognize God's guiding and helping hand in our lives. And we can learn to trust God in all the times and circumstances of our lives. Because unlike fame and fortune and popularity and even youth, God will not abandon us when the going gets tough. Make no mistake, these Beatitudes do not glorify poverty or sorrow or persecution. They show God's solidarity with those who are down and out, and offers them hope and meaning in their suffering that is available only to those which are unavailable to those who do not think they need it. William Barclay says that the Greek word that's used in each beatitude for blessed is makarios. And he says makarios describes that joy which is an inner serenity, untouchable, completely independent of all the chances and changes of life. That joy that shines through grief and pain, which nothing in life or death can take away. Not at all like the world's view of the one with the most toys wins. We can find out that possessions can be stolen, they can be broken down, they can become obsolete, etc. But makarios is here to stay. And it makes life full of hope and meaning and joy and peace. Jesus says makarios is ours when we know our personal limits and our weaknesses, yet trust God to love us, to forgive us, to care for us. Makarios is ours when we accept and offer empathy, mercy, and forgiveness for ourselves and for others. Makarios is ours when we long to be and do good for all of creation, not just from self-interest. Makarios is ours when we seek, whenever possible, to be peacemakers, not just peace lovers. The Hebrew word, of course, for that is shalom, which means everything that makes for the highest good. Makarios belongs to those who make this world a better place for all to live in. Abraham Lincoln once said, "When dying when I'm in, I would like it said of me that I always pulled up a weed and planted a flower where I thought a flower could grow." Makarios helps us to know our own right size as God's beloved children who are blessed so that we can become blessings, planting flowers wherever we think a flower can grow. It may be in our own soils, our own soul, maybe in our families, our friends, our strangers, our work, in any garden, that the weeds can be plucked up and Makarios be planted and blossom and flourish. That, Jesus says, is the kingdom of heaven here on earth. Amen. Let us join together.